The stars above Alarian Prime shined cold and silent, as if watching everything that was about to happen. Inside the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, thousands of species sat in rows, their eyes glowing, blinking, or flickering. It was a rare moment. The prophets were about to speak. High Seer Vol, a tall, silver-skinned being with 6 long fingers and eyes like burning ice, stood at the center of the circular room. His voice had guided the council through plagues, invasions, and civil war. His visions had never been wrong. He lifted his hands. The room went silent, but he didn't speak. He gasped. He staggered forward. A strange black mark spread across his face like a burn. His mouth opened, and he screamed not in pain, but in terror. Humans. Then he dropped dead. No one moved. No one spoke. Not even the council guards dared breathe. The word humans echoed through the grand chamber like a curse. High Seer Vol had spoken his final vision, and then everything started to go wrong. In the following days, the same thing happened on other worlds. One by one, the prophets, those who could touch time, see paths before they happened, and guide the stars, fell silent. Some died in mid-vision, others vanished in the night. A few went mad, scribbling strange words and lines that made no sense to anyone but them, across the galaxy. A message repeated again and again. One species will bring the final night. At first the council took it seriously. Panic spread. Fast, they searched ancient records, old warnings, and translated forgotten languages. The name of the species was found again and again, hidden under codes, warnings, and lost scrolls. Homo sapiens, origin. Sol 3, Terra, humans. But when the news reached the full council assembly, most laughed. Humans, Slarn General hissed, his thick shell vibrating with amusement. Those primitive savages from the blue world? I've seen their ships. They burn with fossil fuel. They wear fabric armor, a Zendari merchant added. Some still fight with bullets. They worship invisible beings, said another, chuckling. They are divided, emotional, slow to unite. They are no threat, the council voted. 97% agreed. The prophecy had been misunderstood. The humans were irrelevant, too weak, too backward. The galaxy had nothing to fear, and so the warnings were ignored, but not by everyone. On the desert moon of Chilt, an old scholar named Eric Vor sat in his cave, reading one of the last surviving records of the Starborn Prophets, a forgotten order that had disappeared thousands of years ago. Their writings were full of puzzles and riddles, but one passage struck him cold. They shall rise from fire and war, broken by the stars, remade in darkness. Their minds will drink knowledge like water, their hearts will beat for revenge. When they come, the suns will fade and silence will follow. He read it again. They, he whispered, means humans. He remembered the ancient wars. Long ago, before the council was formed, Earth had been marked as a testing ground by rogue genetic harvesters. Humanity had been stolen from, altered, abandoned, records had been erased. But Vor had found some pieces. He contacted the council. They ignored him. So he sent a warning to an old friend, Captain Real Mar, of the Zithan explorers. Mar had traveled near Earth before. He knew the humans were changing, learning, building. Vor's final message was short. They are not what you think. The prophecy is real. Watch the stars. Watch Earth. Then Vor went silent and was never heard from again. Captain Mar, a hardened alien with skin like stone and a voice like gravel, didn't waste time. He sent a stealth scout to orbit Earth. Just a probe, small, fast, invisible to the humans. But what the probe sent back shocked him. Within just 2 years, Earth's military and science centers had advanced by nearly 2 full tech generations. Human ships were moving faster. Artificial intelligence systems were improving. They were building new weapons, some with energy readings Mar didn't understand. One clip stood out. It showed a human child, no older than 8, pulling apart a damaged alien device from an old black market crash. In just 1 hour she had repaired it. In 2 hours, she had improved it. In 3 hours, She had connected it to a data line and hacked a passing satellite. Mars sent the clip to the FC Council. They dismissed it as a trick. Then Mars' scout probe vanished. The last image it transmitted was a simple, chilling shot. A human man staring up at the sky, directly at the probe's position. And smiling, the stars grew quieter. More prophets fell. One screamed before his death, "They are not bound by our rules," another wrote. "Their minds stretch across time." The Union still refused to act, but a whisper started to grow in the outer colonies. A single word passed from planet to planet. Reckoning. On the mining moon of Telrose 4, a cargo ship picked up a strange signal, faint, slow, repeating. "We warned you." The crew traced it to a nearby asteroid. Inside, they found a hidden human station, abandoned, but the tech was unlike anything they had seen before, blended with alien systems, built in secret. One of the engineers managed to copy some files before the station exploded. The file contained a map, not of planets, not of trade routes, but of targets. It listed every major council world, every defense station, every prophet stronghold, with dates calculated to the second, back on Alarian Prime. The council began to panic. Ships were called back. Scans of Earth increased, but now Earth was quiet. Too quiet. Their satellites were no longer detectable. Their energy signals had vanished. It was as if the planet had disappeared from every sensor. And then, one night, without warning, all the stars in a small sector of the sky just beyond the Orion arm went dark. No explosions, no flashes, no messages. Just silence and darkness. The prophets had warned them, they had laughed. But now, the prophecy had begun, and the stars were watching. The outpost on Zarnus 12 was silent. Its last transmission played on repeat through the Galactic Council's emergency channel. Static. Then a human voice whispering, "They're here. And they're not what we expected." After that, nothing, no. Signals, no survivors. The Zarni's outpost had been built to watch Earth from a distance. It was hidden behind asteroid debris, cloaked, armed, and manned by a dozen elite Zarth intelligence officers. And now, it was gone. The Council refused to believe it at first. They blamed pirates, cosmic storms, equipment failure, anything but the obvious. But deep down, they knew something was moving on Earth. Something dangerous. Captain Lee's face appeared on the command screen. She was the leader of a new scouting team assigned to observe humans directly. Unlike the previous observers, her team would go down to the surface and blend in. No cloaks, no flying above. They were to walk among the humans. "We'll be careful," she told the Council. "We will observe, not engage." The Council reluctantly agreed. And so, Team Delta 45 aliens skilled in disguise, language, and field science landed near a human megacity known as New York. They walked its streets, dressed as humans, watching quietly. They watched the people shout, laugh, argue, create, and destroy. They saw kindness in the streets. They saw cruelty in the shadows. They saw brilliance, and they saw madness. But what disturbed them most is how fast everything was changing. On the second day, Lieutenant Grail, a data specialist, entered a bookstore and picked up a recent human publication, a physics journal. When he read it, his hands trembled. He called the others. This paper explains wormhole folding. He whispered, "It's basic, but correct. That's centuries ahead of their last known science level." "How could they learn that already?" one asked. "They didn't just learn it," Grawl replied. "They're testing it right now." Act. 2 days later, a riot broke out in the city. A protest turned violent. Police moved in, fires burned, people screamed. The aliens watched from above, hiding in a rooftop building. "Do you see how they move?" Captain Lee whispered. "They adapt. Every second. No two humans fight the same. They change like water. They think in real time." The third day, they entered a university lab using forged credentials. A group of human students, no older than 20, were building something on their own, something the aliens recognized immediately. A gravitational stabilizer. Crude, yes, but it worked. The humans had no help. No alien tech. No access to outside knowledge. They had figured it out. Just from patterns by watching the stars and studying tiny details, Captain. Lee stared at the spinning model. They're not evolving. They're leaping. On the fourth night, one of the agents, Voss, went missing. I had entered a human hacker den under a false identity. Surveillance lost him 2 hours later. The next morning, his body was found in a subway tunnel. His equipment had been stripped. His neural chip had been opened and re-coded. The message carved into his arm was written in English. "Stop watching, we see you too." Captain Lee wanted to leave. She sent a request for emergency extraction. The council denied it. They still believed humans were manageable. Day 5 brought a change no one expected. A human girl, maybe 13, walked up to the disguised alien team in a park. She tilted her head and smiled strangely. "You're not from here," she said. They froze. Captain Lee forced a smile. "What do you mean?" "I can smell the metal in your blood," the girl whispered. "And I can feel the pulse in your brain. It's not like ours." The girl walked away and vanished. She did not show up on thermal or magnetic scans. There were no footsteps. No record of her in any camera. Just gone. Like smoke, the team returned to their hideout and began uploading their findings. Files, reports, video clips. Suddenly, the building shook. Power died. Their screens went black. Then, in the dark, a voice came from every device, speaker. In scanner, they carried. It was humanmail.com. "I would have preferred peace," the voice said. "But you couldn't leave us alone." Lights flickered. The team activated emergency shields, but they were already too late. Back at Council Command, alarms blared. The entire feed from Team Delta 4 was cut off. Their location beacon vanished. A council technician whispered, "They've been erased." A silence followed. Then one of the old counselors, who had served during the last major galactic war, stood and said only one word: retaliation. But what no one in the council realized was that this wasn't retaliation. This was only observation. Humanity had noticed them, had watched them watching, and now humanity was simply returning the favor. On Earth, inside a hidden bunker under the Rocky Mountains, several humans sat around a massive circular table. In the center, a hologram showed alien scout routes, fleet positions, and psychic residue patterns left by prophets. A tall woman in military gear stepped forward. "They're still not taking us seriously," she said. A man across from her nodded. "Then we'll make them. The warning has been given. The next phase begins now." Another leaned in and spoke quietly. "We've prepared for this for over 100 years. They watched us grow. They tried to keep us small, but now we're ready, and the outposts, gone. The observers, neutralized, and the message, delivered." The room went quiet. Outside, in deep orbit, a human stealth ship moved silently toward a neutral alien colony. Not to attack, not yet. Just to show the galaxy that humans were coming, and they were done being ignored. The Galactic Union's central research hub sat inside a hollowed moon, far from any war zone or pirate path. It was guarded by 6 patrol fleets, shielded by phase armor, and hidden behind a maze of false space coordinates. No species had ever broken in. Until now, the first sign was small a flicker in the surveillance feed, then another. A technician leaned closer to his console. "Is that human code?" The encryption had no known pattern, and it didn't match any database. It was chaotic, messy, imperfect, and completely unreadable. But it worked. In less than 5 minutes, one of the research hub's memory vaults was empty. Entire libraries, weapon specs, AI logs, psychic test records vanished, as if someone had reached into the heart of the moon and pulled out its secrets. The technician stood frozen. "They cracked our firewall," he whispered. "They weren't supposed to even know we existed." The screen went black, then flashed a message in plain galactic common. "We watched. We learned. Your secrets are ours now." Panic erupted across the research hub because the one species not trusted with Union tech had just stolen it. The Council summoned its emergency circle. "Hi, Admiral Shirla." Okay, an old war veteran slammed his fist on the table. "This is impossible. Their tech level was over 300 years behind ours," was corrected Counselor Vale, eyes narrow. "They don't follow linear growth. They jump." "Even if they stole our data," another shouted, "they couldn't build anything from it in time, not without understanding it." A silent hologram flickered to life. It showed footage from a border skirmish, 2 ships, 1 Union patrol, and 1 unknown vessel, exchanging fire. The unknown ship had no ID tag. It moved too fast. Its energy signature changed mid-flight. The Union vessel managed 1 scan before it was destroyed. That scan confirmed it. The unknown ship was human-built. It was using modified Union tech, the same tech stolen only 10 days ago. The Council fell into silence. Meanwhile, on a quiet mining world named Gravo 6, workers began vanishing. At first, it was blamed on cave-ins, but soon, entire teams disappeared without trace. The only clue was a strange scent in the aero zone and ash. Then came the video. One of the survivors uploaded it before their signal was cut. The footage showed a group of humans cloaked, masked, moving like shadows, slipping into the main reactor hall of a Union mining rig. They didn't speak. They didn't fire. They rewired the entire system in less than 4 minutes, then vanished. The reactor came online and started, producing power 80% more efficiently. The humans hadn't come to destroy, they came to understand and improve. The broadcast ended with one line spoken in a calm human voice: "We don't need war to win. We only need your tools." Across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. How did they move so fast? How did they break our systems? How did they learn so quickly? The answer spread like a storm. They adapt faster than we evolve. On the moon world of Sarek, a secret lab worked day and night to study human brains, clone, stolen, dissected. One scientist, Dr. Urvac, discovered something horrifying. "They're not just reactive," he said in a report to the Council. "They're recursive. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes strength. Their minds don't need perfect information. They fill in gaps instinctively." A small group of cloned human children were raised in a controlled environment. They were taught nothing. No language. No history. By age 5, one of the children had built a basic transmitter. By age 6, 2 had invented a new spoken code, unknown to the scientists. By age 7, all 5 children escaped, and no one ever found them again. On the warship Graal's Claw, Captain Miraz received a new mission: can intercept a human freighter in the drift belt. The ship was said to be carrying stolen tech. It was unarmed. Slow. Miraz smiled. Too easy. The Graal's Claw arrived ahead of schedule. He dropped out of warp, ready to board. The freighter looked broken. No energy. Drifting Miraz sent a boarding party. 30 seconds later, the boarding party's feed went dark. 10 seconds later, the Graal's Claw's own systems shut down. They never got to send a distress signal. When a patrol arrived 2 days later, they found the Graal's Claw floating in space, untouched, undamaged, and completely emptied. Only one word was burned into the hull: learning complete. Back in the Inner Council, panic became fear. Humanity wasn't just building weapons. They were building systems. New AI, faster engines, shields that adapted mid-attack, machines that healed themselves. They weren't doing it over years or decades. They were doing it in weeks. On Earth, deep inside the Black Spire facility, engineers and scientists reviewed the latest alien tech logs. A team leader, Marissa Chen, pointed to a diagram of Union fleet drives. "We can cut jump time by half," she said. "If we overlay quantum mesh coils like their design, the few tweaks." General Elric nodded. "Timeline. It's prototype in 3 days. Fleet-wide in 2 weeks. Another engineer added, "We finished the translation matrix last night. We can now read all known Union languages. Every signal, every code, and our defenses." Asked the general. Marissa smiled.
already 10 steps ahead.
Outside, human ships black, sharp, silent moved through Earth's low orbit. They no longer needed lights. They no longer broadcast signals. They watched everything, and Earth was ready. The galaxy had mocked humanity, called them backward, weak, divided. But no one mocked now, because now, every fleet commander, every alien, senator, every council scientist understood the humans don't just fight. They don't just build. They absorb. They evolve. They improve. Fast. And if the galaxy didn't stop them soon, it would never stop them at all. The world of Corellian was a shining jewel of the Galactic Union. It had no armies, no defense fleets, no need. It was home to over 6 billion aliens, artists, scholars, builders, and diplomats. It was where peace treaties were signed, where cultures mixed freely, and where every citizen believed. They were safe under the Union's protective power, until the night the sky turned. Black, no warning, no ships detected, no alarms, just silence. And then nothingness. From orbit, a passing freighter witnessed it. 1 second, Corellian glowed beneath its twin moons. The next, it vanished as if the planet had never existed. No light, no debris, not even dust. The freighter's captain barely escaped. His ship shook violently. All systems failed. But his final transmission was burned into every channel across the galaxy. It was them, the humans. They took the star. They didn't just destroy it, they erased it. The council called an emergency assembly. Impossible, one elder shouted. No species has that power. But it happened, screamed another. 6 billion lives, gone, just like that. They didn't just fire a weapon, whispered Admiral Sherla. They used something else. Something beyond physics. A young technician entered the chamber, pale and trembling. He held a data core retrieved from the freighter's black box. The recording played. Static. Then a short human message. Your warnings were not heard. Now your stars will listen. Panic swept the Union. Worlds demanded fleets for protection. Border. Planets sealed their gates. Merchant convoys vanished. Pirate clans surrendered without a fight, and for the first time in galactic history, every race agreed on one thing. Humanity had crossed a line that could not be undone, but deep in the cold silence between systems, humanity was just getting started. In a dark command chamber inside the stealth ship Ash Reborn, Commander Yelani stared at a map filled with glowing stars. Some were marked red. Some had lines drawn through them. Behind her, engineers studied alien energy readings. Was the fold successful? She asked. The technician nodded. The core was swallowed. No radiation, no trace. What about observers? We left one ship alive just like you ordered. Message delivered. Commander Yelani looked up. Then it begins. Back on Earth, inside the underground city of Obsidian Reach, leaders from all corners of humanity gathered. They stood in front of a display showing the Union's most vital systems: military, trade, communication, diplomacy. The speaker, General Elric, spoke without emotion. They thought Earth was a primitive world, he said. They thought we were animals with guns. We remember what they did to us long ago. Remember being tested, watched, mocked. He tapped a control panel. Images flashed. Alien abductions. Ancient ruins filled with Union tech. Genetics markers hidden in human DNA. They built us to be weak. But we rewired ourselves in secret. We outgrew our chains. The room stayed silent as Elric turned to the others. No more warnings. No more waiting. We don't just fight. We reshape. The battlefield. He pointed to the blinking red light on the map where Corellian used to be. That was a message, and they heard it loud. Across the galaxy, the effect was instant. The Trawl Confederacy, once allied with Earth, declared neutrality and closed all wormholes. The Zari worlds, ancient allies of the Union, suddenly disappeared from long range. Scans rumored to be hiding from both sides. Even the proud Varkon warlords, once unshaken, pulled back their invasion fleets. The galaxy was afraid, not of what humanity was doing, but of what they had become. On the world of Tarnasy, the gathering of the remaining prophets took place inside a massive crystal temple. Their visions had grown strange, clouded. Some said the threads of time had snapped. Prophet Natar entered the pool of stars. She dipped her fingers into the liquid starlight and tried to see the future. Instead, she screamed. Her voice echoed. Across the temple, shaking walls and breaking crystals, the stars are dying. One by one, the humans are not fire, they are gravity. They do not rage, they pull everything in, until only they remain. Her eyes turned black, her breath stopped, and she, too, was gone. Back in Union Command, Counselor Vale stood alone in her chamber, reading one of the first old records of the human prophecy. It had been locked away for centuries. She had found it herself buried beneath lies and edits. It said only this: do not teach the caged species. Do not give them words, tools, or stars. For when they rise, it will not be with peace. It will be with silence. And in that silence, only they shall remain. She closed the book, looked out the window, and for the first time, she saw darkness. Approaching far away aboard the ship, Ash Reborn, Commander Yelani looked at the next target. A peaceful world. No weapons, no ships, just an old listening post. She turned to her crew. We don't need to destroy them all, she said. We only need them to know we could. And that was the difference. Humanity had moved beyond war. They now controlled fear itself. A silence hung over the Galactic Council Hall, the kind that only comes after too many funerals. Representatives from over 70 species sat in grim silence. The lights dimmed, the air heavy. Behind them, holoscreens displayed a list of the AE fallen systems: Chirelian, Vora Prime, Deezen Relay, and above all the names. One message blinked in red: origin of attack, humanity. Yet despite all the fear, all the destruction, the Council had not declared full war. Not yet. Because today, humanity had sent an ambassador. He arrived alone. No guards. No ship visible on scanners. No weapon in sight. He walked calmly through the grand halls of the Galactic Union's central dome. His face was unreadable. His clothing was simple black, clean, with only a single silver symbol on his chest, a fractured star within a closed circle. His name was Ambassador Cole Vance, and he was Earth's final voice before conquest turned into annihilation. The room watched in silence as he stepped forward and spoke. We come not as conquerors, he said calmly, but as reminders. His voice echoed, soft but chilling. For centuries, your union watched us, played with us, took from us. You erased your crimes, hid your past, built walls to keep us weak. He paused, but we broke those walls. And now we stand not beneath you, but over you. The Council demanded terms. They offered a treaty peace, limited expansion rights, shared technology, a place at the table. Cole Vance listened, then smiled. That would have worked. 50 years ago, he said, but now the table is ours. Counselor Vale stood. You can't threaten the entire galaxy. There's still hundreds of fleets. I'm not threatening, he replied, reminding. The first star has already fallen. We could have taken 5 or 50. He leaned forward, and if you betray this meeting, if one shot is fired after I walk out of this room, you won't even have time to scream. The Council whispered in panic behind sealed doors. Some wanted war, some wanted surrender, some still believed. Humanity was bluffing. They voted. The peace offer passed. A treaty was signed. A full ceremonial handover was arranged for the next cycle. But someone could not accept it. Admiral Drex Mar of the Varkon Warlords, a war-hardened brute who had lost 2 sons in the Chirelian event, believed the treaty was cowardice, sent a strike team to follow the ambassador as he left the Council, building a silent kill team, stealth suits, plasma knives. They would take the human out quietly and claim, it's the galaxy back through blood. The Council never approved it. They never got the chance as Ambassador Vance stepped through the lower corridor. The lights flickered. A faint hum echoed. Through the halls, the kill team moved into place. But something was wrong. Their vision turned static. Their suits powered down. The walls themselves shifted. And suddenly, the kill team was gone. In their place stood 6 armored humans, silent and still. Vance never stopped walking. 30 seconds later, a body fell through the skylight into the council chamber. It was Admiral Drexmar. Burned, cut, branded with the same fractured star symbol. The council screamed. Some rushed out. Others froze, and then the message arrived. All screens lit up with a human broadcast. We offered peace. You chose betrayal. This was your final warning. The next time we speak, it will be from orbit. The peace treaty was now broken, and the galaxy knew what came next. Not threats, not messages, not negotiations, but reckoning. Back in Earth's command citadel. Deep beneath the Arctic ice, General Elric received the ambassador's report. He said, "Nothing," just nodded. A single word echoed through the chamber. Execute protocol, eclipse. Dozens of lights began to flash red. Engineers moved, pilots suited up. New fleet Silent Ones launched from deep bunkers, hidden moons, and folded stations. The time for patience was over. On a quiet alien world named Veltris Hope, a small colony of peaceful scientists looked up at the sky. One child pointed upward and whispered to her father, "Daddy, the stars are going out." He looked up. Black dots were spreading like oil across the night sky. No engines, no sound, no warnings, just ships. Human ships. They weren't attacking. Not yet. They were showing the truth, that they were already everywhere, inside a hidden chamber in the ruins of Prophet Temple 9. Were not the ones we feared. They were the ones we created. And now, they remember. It began with the children, on dozens of peaceful worlds, planets untouched by war children. Looked up at the sky and saw it change. Not with storms, not with comets, but with shadows, hundreds of ships, silence still blocking. The stars not firing, just watching, waiting. A mother on Yastra 4 screamed when she noticed them. The sky, it's gone. The night never returned, because humanity had arrived, and their fleets now hung over every major world in the Galactic Union, in the outer colonies. Panic spread like fire. Trade convoys vanished. Defense systems powered down without warning. Entire planetary networks went offline. There were no attacks. No explosions, just quiet takeover. A signal would arrive. Then the skies turned black. Then nothing worked anymore. The human message, now fully translated into every known galactic language, began playing across public channels. We do not seek your destruction, but we will no longer ask for respect. This galaxy chose silence when we cried. So now we bring silence to your skies. On the jungle world of Drelvek, the local governor tried to calm the population. The humans are just showing force, he said. They won't act if we stay still. But that night, every drone, ship, and satellite above Drelvak fell too. The ground like rain, not destroyed, but completely drained of power. Every screen lit up with a countdown. Comply in 48 hours, or be forgotten. The people surrendered before sunrise. Inside the Council's war bunker on Alarian Prime, Admiral Shirla and Counselor Vale stood before a live feed of the galaxy map. Every Union-controlled planet flashed red. Human fleets surrounded them all. How? How did they spread so fast? Vale whispered. They were already here, the Admiral answered coldly. We just never looked. She pointed to the rim systems. They're even in the far void. That's impossible. Those sectors aren't mapped. No need. Maps, Shirla said. They built their own. In the star city of Delphas, home to the largest civilian population in the galaxy, people gathered in open plazas, staring up. The sun had dimmed, not by nature, but by the massive human ship. Now parked between the star and the planet, the crowd watched as a beam of light projected onto the sky. This is not conquest. This is correction. In secret, the Council sent a desperate message to a long-lost race, the Murni, ancient machines that once controlled the edges of known space. They were the only ones rumored to have weapons that could stop human stealth. Fleets. The Council begged them for help. They received one short reply. The humans already came. We did not resist. Neither should you. Meanwhile, on Earth, the skies were peaceful. No alarms, no threats. Just silence. Inside the command citadel of Obsidian Reach, General Elric stood with his advisors, watching galactic footage play across. Enormous monitors. "Phase 1 is complete," said Commander Yelani. "No shots fired. 27 worlds surrendered.
Oh.
12 more are in blackout. What of the Union fleet?" "Still waiting. Still hoping we'll blink?" Elric nodded. "Let them." He turned to a young technician. "What about dissenters?" 3 minor rebellions, all local level. Resolved quietly. Losses, none on our side. Elric smiled for the first time in weeks. We've changed the battlefield. Back in the core of the Union, the remaining prophets gathered for the final time. Those who had not vanished or gone mad sat around a broken star map. One young prophet, eyes glowing dimly, spoke. "I saw what comes next." "Destruction?" someone asked. "No worse." "Then what?" "Control," she explained with a voice. Not her own. "They will not burn your cities. They will not slaughter your armies. They will let you live. But everything you build will be theirs. Every decision you make. Watched. Every breath. Tracked, and you will thank them for it." Silence filled the chamber, because everyone there knew. This was no longer war. It was absorption. In orbit over Karnastaa, where some of the strongest Union war fleets were stationed, every captain received a sudden private message sent directly to their neural implants. It showed the last moments of Kyrelian, slowed down frame by frame, and then another image, their own ships. Marked for destruction, each fleet had 5 minutes to decide. 3 surrendered. 1 refused. The refusing fleet never even had time to charge weapons. They were gone in 4 seconds. On the desert world of Varn, 2 young aliens stood in the sand dunes, watching the night sky. "It used to be full of stars," one said. "It still is," the other replied. "No. Look." The stars were hidden behind massive black triangles, human ships, the size of cities, just drifting above. And suddenly, it felt colder, because those ships weren't firing. They were listening, recording, studying, deciding. Humanity had changed. They no longer conquered with fire, they conquered with silence. And now, every world in the galaxy had only 2 choices: surrender quietly or disappear completely. The old children's book was found in the ruins of a library on Cora Prime. It was simple, made for young alien minds, with bright colors and large words. It showed monsters with long claws, red eyes, and metal skin. They came from the shadows. They whispered in the dark. They took worlds without warning. At the bottom of each page was a single phrase: "Beware the humans." Ambassador Rhea of the Galactic Union read the book in silence. It was just a tale, she whispered to herself. A warning story to scare children. But she looked out the window of her safe house toward the sky over. Cora Priman saw it again. The stars had vanished, one by one, replaced by massive black ships that did not move, did not speak, and did not blink. Human ships, the galaxy, had told stories about humans for generations, but always as prey, primitive, emotional, fragile. The stories never warned what would happen if humanity stopped being prey. On the Council world of Theraxis, an emergency broadcast echoed through the cities: "Do not resist. The humans are scanning all neural systems. Stay calm, stay indoors. Compliance means safety." But fear had spread faster than reason. Entire districts rebelled, and then they vanished. Not from bombing, not from war, just gone. Whole cities lifted. Into the sky, teleported into orbit, and held until they submitted, then returned gently to the surface. Nothing broken, except their pride, back in Earth's obsidian reach. General Elric stared at dozens of alien signals, begging for mercy. "Should we reply?" asked an officer. Elric shook his head. They called us monsters. "Let them believe we are." Commander Yelani, standing nearby, finally spoke. "Do you think we're becoming what they feared?" Elric looked her in the eyes. "No, we're becoming what they made us." Years ago, before the stars turned dark, humanity had suffered. Alien scientists had tested on them. Union collectors had stolen children from villages. Prophets had whispered that humans were useful tools. Nothing more. Those crimes were hidden, erased from galactic records, but Earth had never forgotten. And now, memory burned hotter than revenge. On the world of Lunthra, a council member tried to rally the people. He screamed to crowds, "They are not gods, they're just one species." But even as he spoke, a new moon appeared in the sky. It wasn't a moon, it was a human data hub. It's projecting a signal so powerful it overrode every system on the planet. And on every screen, in every language, the same line appeared. "You look down on us. Now look up." Inside a hidden rebel base on Darsa 3, a Union general met with old allies. They planned one last strike. A fleet of 60 ships, elite pilots. Cloaked weapons, they launched toward Earth. They never reached orbit mid-flight. Every ship was boarded without docking. Human infiltration pods phased through hulls, reprogrammed engines, and left the ships floating dead in space. Human soldiers didn't kill the pilots. They gave them one message. "You tried to burn our world. Now we write the laws of fire." One by one, Union leaders began surrendering, not out of fear, but out of shame, because they saw the truth in their eyes. Humanity had become the monsters, but not because they destroyed, because they outgrew everything. The Union had become a rusted machine. Humanity had become the storm that crushed it on. A quiet field in Eastern Europe, a small human child stood alone. Watching the sky, his grandmother walked out and joined him. He pointed upward. "Is that one of our ships?" She nodded. "Why are they so quiet?" She smiled gently. "Because when you speak softly, people listen harder." On a world near the galactic rim, a group of young alien cadets found an old archive file. Footage of Earth during its darkest times, world wars, disease, hunger. They watched the humans suffer, struggle, fall, and then rise again, and again, and again. One cadet whispered, "We never had a chance, did we?" The other replied, "No, not after we taught them how to survive." The monsters in the old stories weren't real, but the galaxy had created one anyway. And now, the true tale was being written. Humanity was not the monster. They were the judgment. The Grand Council Hall of the Galactic Union was empty. Chairs shattered, walls cracked, flags torn. Only dust and silence remained a symbol of what had fallen once. This hall ruled the stars. Now it was just another relic beneath a dark sky. Because humanity had won, and not with fire, not with armies, but with something far more dangerous. Patience. A single human walked through the ruins. Ambassador Cole. Vance, no guards, no drones, just him. He placed a small black device at the center of the room and spoke calmly. "This is the new council," he said. "One that listens, one that learns, or one that ends." His voice echoed into every still-functioning relay tower across the galaxy, on over 200 worlds. Alien leaders watched the broadcast with frozen expressions. Some stood, some bowed, others knelt because they understood the truth now. The war was not just over. The age of the Galactic Union was over. On Earth, celebrations were quiet, not because of fear, but because humanity remembered the cost, the experiments, the lost, the burned villages, the dead colonies. The voices erased from time. This victory wasn't revenge. It was balance. In the black space between stars, Human fleets floated like sentinels. They did not attack. They did not conquer. They simply reminded. A single word was broadcast every 6 hours, Neil. Not from weakness, but to acknowledge that power now had a new name, and it wore a human face. On the desert world of Xantera, the last Union warlord surrendered. He came forward with no weapon, dropped his rank badge into the sand and said, "We thought you were soft." A human officer responded, "We were." And then he walked away, leaving the warlord standing alone, broken not by war, but by truth, in orbit above Senecanine. Human engineers helped rebuild shattered cities. Children from dozens of alien races watched in silence as humans worked with machines faster than anything seen before. One child asked, "Are they gods?" An old priest answered, "No, worse. They remember everything." In a far galaxy archive hidden deep within what remained of Prophet Temple 1, the final prophecy was found. Finished, burned halfway through, it said, "And when the forgotten rise, they will not come as kings, but as storms. And even the stars will kneel just to be spared." Now, from the edge of the galaxy to its core, no world questioned the new balance. Ships flew differently. Trade routes changed. Languages updated, and on every official document, every interplanetary law, and every ruling council, one thing remained clear. Nothing moved unless Earth allowed it. But Earth didn't rule with chains. Instead, they offered peace. They opened libraries, shared food, restored old cities that had been forgotten. And in doing so, they reminded the galaxy of its failures. One final message was sent from Earth, this time in every language. Cole Vance spoke once again. "We did not rise to be kings. We rose because you forced us to crawl. Now we walk among the stars, not to crush, to make sure no one else ever crawls again." In time, statues of human leaders were raised not out of fear, but out of respect. Schools began teaching human philosophy, war ethics, and history. And slowly, Galaxy learned that the monster in the shadows wasn't a beast, it was justice. On a quiet moon, human child placed a small flag into the dirt, not a symbol of power, but of memory. The words beneath it read, "In the end, we did not conquer. We simply endured." The stars blinked first,